Welcome to the Magnet Poll, where we dive into Miami-Dade's most innovative and exciting magnet programs that truly make Miami-Dade County Public Schools your best choice in education. I'm Jacqueline Basayo, Executive Director with the Office of School Choice and Parental Options, filling in for your host, Dr. Magda Castro-Pereira. And today we are showcasing South Miami K-8 Center, a school that is home to not one, but 5 fine arts magnet strands that begin as early as 3rd grade. Joining us is Sara, Jarrell, a celebrated theater creator, proud MDCPS magnet alum, and now Rookie Teacher of the Year at South Miami K-8 Center. Welcome.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I'm excited to have you here. I recently visited South Miami K-8 Center and definitely felt a need to amplify what is happening at your school.
Thank you so much. Yeah. We're a wonderfully hidden, the best kept secret in South Miami. That's
Absolutely.
What we are.
Absolutely. And I think when we talk about our magnet programs and just across the district, there's just a preconception that we offer these programs at the high school level, right? Those are the more well-known programs. But here we have an arts program, a fine arts program that begins as early as 3rd grade. So I really want to dive into kind of what that looks like, what that means. So I'm really just going to turn it over to you to let me know, or let the community know about South Miami K-8 Center, what really sets you apart from elementary schools, middle schools, and K-8 centers, because now you're providing an alternative to families that are looking for an elementary setting or a middle school, because you have this unique grade configuration of kindergarten through 8th grade.
Exactly. So like I said, best kept secret in South Miami. We are a full service expressive arts magnet. So what that looks like is we have art, dance, music, drama, and we also have for our middle school our computer arts technology magnet program. So what we do is we are a wonderful home for those creative children to be able to learn that foundational form of their art and get, a head start more so than maybe somebody else in that artistry. And whether they decide to stay with it, they get that foundation that the arts do provide. Which is amazing because there's not that many elementary magnet schools. Like I said, best kept secret. Because, when you go out into the community, they don't understand that, I can bring my child and they do get, this specialized arts education for access available in the public school system. That's crazy.
Yes, free of cost.
Yes. There's so many dance studios out there who are charging, a lot of money. And we have our fabulous dance teacher who in-house trains your kids in 4 different styles of dance. And that is priceless.
So absolutely. So I think when we talk about these programs in the elementary school level, it's always a question about what that looks like, right? So how does that whole arts piece, what does that look like in an elementary setting, even though it is a K-8, but for those elementary school students, because that's where you're offering that dance, theater, drama, and visual arts.
And visual arts, yeah. Okay. So with the elementary kids, children are naturally creative. They're explorative and they want to create. And so we harness that creativity and give it that sort of structure that kids are craving constantly so that their creativity can go from, oh, mommy, I made you a wonderful picture you can put on the fridge to, oh, mommy, I made you a huge mural that you can have in your house. Or, oh, mommy, I like to do 2 steps in dance. Oh, mom, look at this whole entire thing that I've choreographed for you. So it gives them the structure to be able to skyrocket their creativity to new heights. And that's really what we try to do, is make sure that the kids feel, confident, comfortable with their creativity to let it explode,
Absolutely.
And fireworks.
Yeah. And I know that when we talk about our magnet programs at the elementary level, they tend to be more global in nature, right?
Right.
Whereas here you have this arts program where I think, because something that always comes up is families are saying, I don't really know what my kid is interested in. Right? They like dinosaurs. But I do think with the art specifically, I think that's an easy talent or passion to pick up on right away. So it's very easy for families to say, you know what, my child really likes drawing. This is a good fit. And I know from visiting other fine arts programs, students, maybe they're not going to be dancers for the rest of their life, but the confidence that they build going to school, learning these techniques, or being around students that share that same passion,
and working
really
with other
helps.
Students too. That's a thing that I think that also that helps sets us apart, is that it's such a collaborative effort. While while our magnet program does start in the 3rd grade, we collaborate with the younger grades and the older grades and the students in each different magnet so that, just like you said, your kid has a spark for one thing maybe when they're in 3rd grade, but by the time they get to 5th grade, maybe it's something completely different. Well, we allow them to have that sort of cross, like the students mingle with one another so that they can experience the other art forms as well. It's not exclusively, yes, they're in their magnet, but they get so many opportunities to experience other artists and get inspired by those other artists and find something that they liked in return. They're little kids.
Absolutely. And so with this program, and I know our fine arts programs, they do require an audition. So I wanted you to touch upon on that, because I know some families are like, they're in 3rd grade. What do they know? What are they supposed to do for this audition? So if you can kind of let us know what that looks like or what parents can expect when they're applying.
Having an 8-year-old audition, that's a scary feat for anybody at any age. So the concept of a 3rd grader or 4th grader coming into a program auditioning for the magnet, it seems more daunting than what it actually is. So for our each different magnet has a different set of requirements, but for our drama magnet, you're required a monologue, and I always say do a song from whatever show, whatever movie. If you heard something on the radio, sing whatever you'd like. Now, when I say do a monologue to a 8-year-old, that's kind of scary.
Yeah.
So what I try to tell the parents is, yes, a monologue. Here, I can offer you examples. But also, if your child can recite something, a poem, a piece of a story, anything, what we're looking to see is that they want to do this. That it's not just, maybe a parent pushing them into this. That they actually have a want and a desire for that as well. The same with the dance. It's you come in and you just show us what you can do, how you move. Each child has their own ability. And the beautiful thing about an elementary level is that you're getting the education there. You really don't need that much to start off with. You just need to have the passion. And that's really what we're looking forward to seeing.
And how does it impact the student so early, right, in that learning journey? How does it impact how they learn, how they grow? How does it impact them socially to be in a program like this?
Right. So being in a program like this, you're with a lot of like-minded students. I can speak to one of my students in particular. He left his former school because he was a theater kid, and he was bullied because of that. And now he's with a group of theater kids and is celebrated, So his passions are now with like-minded people, and his thoughts are encouraged and, looked at in a way that's like, oh yeah, thanks for sharing that, as opposed to, oh, that's weird. You like drama? That's weird, And that's what helps the kids socially, I think. They then also get to learn how to work together. We talk about teams and sports. That's a great way for young kids. I was in soccer as a kid. So we talk about sports in that same regard, but the arts are such a collaborative experience. You really cannot have arts alone like this. So working together with students to make something like a performance or a piece of art that they get to share then with the world is such a beautiful thing to see and have the kids work together. So that's socially. In regards to their academics, the arts help funnel that creativity into exploration. And students at the very young age this is what I was always told, is that little kids, they love to learn by playing games. And so they're still little. They love to learn by playing and having that access to that. So we allow through cross-curricular that type of experience where I always tell my kids, I think drama and science are best friends, because science is the study of life and drama is the portrayal of life. And now I've got a bunch of my kids in their science class going crazy because they made the connection, and we have the cross-curricular.
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing with our magnet programs, that it's not just that you're in a dance program and you're taking a dance class. We're really integrating it throughout the school day, because we know if they're coming to school and they like what they're doing, they're going to be more successful.
Yes.
And once we integrate that throughout the curriculum, then we kind of provide that full day.
Yeah.
And another thing about our magnet schools in South Miami Cade Center in particular is the connection to real world causes and the opportunities that students have to be able to connect with things like that in
Yes.
the community. And so recently when I visited your school, we had a third grade student whose
Yes.
her art was selected across the district, and now wraps one of our Miami-Dade schools police vehicles.
I know, isn't that amazing?
Incredible. So her artwork promoting autism awareness is wrapping this vehicle that's being driven across the county. So what does that mean for a third grader, right? Like being able to have that exposure.
It's crazy. You know, I mean, there are artists out there who are seeking that type of engagement professionally, you know, and they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. So, you know, our fabulous art teacher, Miss Kalor, who is, you know, deeply connected in the art community and make sure that the kids maintain that connection, you know, saw the opportunity for this project, had the kids go. They went off. They did their art, obviously with her guidance, but it was their creativity that soared. And Kayla was the one who designed it. I think she said, I have designed it on Canva. I submitted it to Miss Kalor. I didn't think anything of it. You know, I just thought it was another wonderful art project that we were going to do. And then we got the call, and it was wrapping a police vehicle, and you know, everyone was so over the moon for her. And again, it goes back to the kids celebrating each other. All of the kids in her class were just over the moon for her. They were like, oh my gosh, our whole school is on the map. You know, the drama kids, everybody saw that in her class, and they were all over the moon, which is, it's again great for that community building. It's great for that wonderful third grader to see, like, oh, anything is possible.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, she's in third grade. I was not designing police cars in third grade.
Oh my gosh, neither was I. I wish.
And I remember from that visit specifically speaking with the family, and I believe the brother went through the program at South Miami K Center. And, you know, mom was telling us they do not live anywhere near South Miami. But, you know, she is so motivated to be in the program. She loves it so much that they get up early and they drive all the way from somewhere down south to be able to bring her to school there. Yeah,
I mean, that just shows, like, how important this is. And, you know, we're so grateful to exist in general, because there are people out there, you know, same example that you said. I have a student whose parents live all the way down in Homestead, and yet they bring their child up because of their belief in the program and the success that they've seen it have with their children.
Right.
So, you know, despite it maybe being a burden for these, you know, 2-3 years, the burden was worth it for them.
The sacrifice, right?
The sacrifice was worth it because, you know, that child, she just did her 5th grade show, and I might cry because of it, but she was the star, and she shone so bright. And now she's going to go to another amazing magnet school. I believe Arthur and Polly Mays down south, but our program launched her for success to be able to be successful now in that program and have that amazing foundation. And she came to us like quiet as a mouse, and here she was on stage at our end of the year show, like the loudest girl in the room. So that's just a testament of what the arts can do, and then specifically what South Miami K-8 can do.
Absolutely. And just building that confidence that now they're going into this middle school or high school level and are able to, you know, confidently audition and know that they can get it because they were able to access the program in the younger grades. And so at your school, you have programs that are strictly for 3rd and 5th grade. So you can kind of explain what programs are specific to those grade levels, and then what happens then for that middle school transition.
Absolutely. So 3rd through 5th magnet programs, the ones that we have, would be the visual arts. We have dance, theater, which is drama, and music. And then once they are finished with our program in 5th grade, some stay and do our computer art technology program, which is the 6-8 part of the K-8. And that is a magnet where they utilize like Photoshop, they utilize, you know, art on the computer and this new wave of art that's coming about and using technology, you know, because animators nowadays, they're not drawing it by hand anymore. Animators are on the computer drawing, and this is your video games, your television, everything.
Yeah.
But then they're also using Photoshop, and that is such a sought after tool, you know, that is, and graphic design. Everybody needs a design somewhere.
Right.
So they work on those skills and are able to do that. If they choose not to, most often they go to another awesome magnet school, awesome magnet middle, if they choose not to stay with us. And that's because they've decided, oh, I'd like to do forensics somewhere, or I'd like to study, you know, Italian elsewhere, you know. So they've they've taken this opportunity to let their creativity soar and said, you know what, because my mind has been able to go as far as it can, I now know where I want to go, and I now know what I want to do. And so we're sad to see them go, obviously, because those are babies, but we're happy that they've been able to utilize their time within our program to figure out what they want. They're still kids, and it's very difficult to decide what you want when you're a child.
Absolutely. And I think it's a great opportunity to decide, this is what I want to continue, or no, now I've realized there's something else I want to explore.
Exactly.
And you're no stranger to the magnet world.
No.
You are a proud magnet alumni.
I am.
So tell me a little bit about that journey and how it's really shaped your passion for the arts and kind of what you're doing today.
So I would say my passion was always there. I grew up in a very creative household, but the magnet programs, what they were able to do was, again, give me that structure to skyrocket my passion and creativity. So, if you have a kid who is passionate, who is creative, and they just need that guidance, they need to forge their own path, but need maybe a couple of plows to clear the road. That's what a magnet school does. It allows the creativity and the passion to be fireworks in the air, while providing them the avenue and the structure that they'll need to go to college, be successful on Broadway. We were just talking about that. So I'm a big 100% believer in the magnet program, as it's very evident. And I think, anybody and everybody should be a part of our wonderful programs.
I think so too. We're your best choice.
Yeah.
That's what we say.
We're the best choice.
So from student to teacher,
yes.
And so Rookie Teacher of the Year
yes.
for South Miami-Dade Center. So congratulations.
Thank you.
And recently you were awarded a grant.
Oh.
Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay. Yes. So after I had left college, I did a wonderful time with the American Theater Wing in their Springboard program. And that's where I learned about the American Theater Wing and what they do throughout the nation for regional theaters, educational theater, etc. When I got this position, I had been notified that there was an opportunity through the Andrew Lloyd Webber Classroom Resources Grant. So Andrew Lloyd Webber, very famous composer of several musicals. He gives money to their wonderful foundation, and they then disperse it to different classrooms. Our fabulous school is been around since the 50s, but that also means that our fabulous theater has been around since the 50s. And so it definitely needed some updates to bring it into the modern era, especially with technology and all that. So I reached out to the people at the American Theater Wing through their grant, and we were wonderfully awarded a bunch of LED lights so that our stage would be updated with the times. No longer using crazy hot lights. They're LED. They change colors. I can use it on an app on my phone if I wanted to. And the kids now are able to be lit. Their star power is not dimmed just because the light is, right. Which is great. And that helps all of our magnet programs, right? The wonderful thing about what we were awarded was the lights that we were awarded, we can use anywhere within the space. And so for the art galleries that our visual artists do, we put them all up so that there's no art that isn't being lit. For the students on the stage, there's no child that's face is in the background in the dark. You can see everybody and everybody gets their moment to shine. And that's something that as an educator, I really believe in, that, every kid deserves to have their moment to shine and really stand out in whatever tiny little way. You could be tree number 2, but tree number 2 has a line that says hello, and you're going to shine the best way you can.
Right.
So
That's right.
Making sure that the kids were lit was a major part of that. We also received a grant from our fabulous, one of our fabulous teachers, to do a bike program. This was about a year and a half ago as well. So we are one of the only schools that has a bike program as well, which our PE program includes bike, which is something that's a lost art form. I didn't realize until I came to elementary, came to teach, and I was like, oh, you guys don't know how to ride a bike?
Right. Nobody rides bikes anymore.
Nobody rides bikes anymore, but it's too hot. But it's such a skill that is needed, There's so many things that you pedal and do all that. So there's several grants that, we've gotten to help make the school even more fabulous than it already is.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. And I think that's, something powerful about, having these historic schools and being the third largest school district. But some families are like, I don't want to be part of the third largest school district. That sounds scary, but really it brings about so many resources, so many opportunities,
so much source,
to be able to bring more to our kids.
Right, precisely. And then with a magnet school, utilizing all of the resources that Miami-Dade County has, it then, like I said, lets the kids shine with those resources.
Absolutely.
No child is standing in the back, right? Those magnet schools allow those kids to stand in the front and be the stars of whatever they want to do. Whether it's being on stage doing a drama, being elsewhere doing Sara, veterinary, whatever. But they get to be the stars and they get to shine because Miami-Dade County has the magnet program, and that's what it does.
Absolutely. So we always close the show with this last question.
Tell me.
Because every school and every program has something that draws families to them. So if you can tell me, what is South Miami K-8 Center's magnet pull? What pulls families to your programs and to your school?
Well, I could very easily say that it's the love, it's the teachers, it's this. I think what pulls them is the fact that we do not stop. We make sure that the kids are constantly doing and sharing and being creative, and that it's evident in the amount of work that they get the opportunity to do, and the platforms that they're put on, because we don't stop and we make sure those kids get out front where they need to be, because every child is talented, every child is creative, but it's a matter of being put in the front and like shown and seen and having the light shown on you,
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
That's a great way to put it. Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Like I said, visiting your school, I really wanted to amplify what it is that's happening there, because I do believe in the power of the arts, and I know that, like you said, it's a hidden gem in South Miami. So thank you for joining me today.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having.
Of course. And a big thank you to our listeners and viewers, as well as Miami's Community News, for their partnership in bringing these stories to the community through this platform. As a reminder, the magnet programs at South Miami K-8 Center require an application for admission. The application period opens annually from October 1st through January 15th. If seats become available after that, there is a second opportunity to apply, and that opens up on April 15th annually. We encourage families to continue exploring the many magnet offerings that we have at Miami-Dade County Public Schools by visiting our website at miamimagnets.org. That's it for this episode of The Magnet Pull. Keep being drawn to what inspires you, and we'll see you next time.